What's up, everybody? Movie Addicted Nerd here, and today I'm going to do something different. This video was inspired by another YouTuber that I watch, and I also follow him on Instagram. He goes by Beyond the Realms. I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. But recently he started collecting vinyl, and so that inspired me to make my own video about my vinyl collection. Now, I like to say it's fairly big, and and every time I buy a new vinyl, I get excited to see, is it colored, is it regular, what's it gonna sound like, etc., etc. So this video is gonna be fairly lengthy because I have, like I said, a moderately big collection. So I'm just gonna go down as how I organize my vinyls, which is soundtrack, then rock/metal music, then hip hop, and then like classic vinyl collection. So to start the soundtracks off, I'm going to start with this Star Wars 45 vinyl. I actually won this from a podcast done by Ming Chen and Mike Zapsik from Comic Book Men. It's a promotional vinyl from Sony Masterworks. They recently released a box set type thing with I want to say the first 6 vinyl editions of the music for Star Wars, and maybe all 7. I'm not entirely sure. This particular promotional vinyl only has 2 songs on it, one side A, one side B. The side A is the main title, and side B is the Cantina band song. So this was really awesome to listen to, and I just love that I have it. It's also a limited edition numbered, and I have number 57 out of 150. Next up is Dawkins' theme from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Again, this is like the Star Wars vinyl. It has one song on side A, one side on side B. And side A is Dream Warriors, the theme from Nightmare on Elm Street, and side B is Into the Fire. Personally, I think In My Dreams would have been a better choice than Inside the Fire. But what I like about this one is it's also on a neon yellow vinyl. I do know this particular one came from One Way Static Records / Light in the Attic Records. I do know if you're like a subscriber to them or something like that, like a member of their club or something, there was a chance where you could like a limited edition version of a green and red striped vinyl that, matches Freddy's sweater. This is also, I just love listening to this every time, and I posted a picture on Instagram with this and my 2 Freddy Pop vinyls. Got a lot of likes on it. It was pretty cool to see. And a lot of people are always like, dude, where'd you get that vinyl? And I always tell them, One Way Static or Light in the Attic. And it's really fun to listen to. And Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is probably my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie ever. So, and the theme song, Dream Warriors, is one of the main reasons why I absolutely love this movie, because heavy metal and horror go great together. Next up is not necessarily a soundtrack per se, but it's kind of a lost soundtrack, I guess you could say, and that is John Carpenter's Lost Themes. This is the first one. This one came out, I believe, 2 years ago, maybe 3. So from what I understand is John Carpenter, since he always made this music for his movies, had a bunch of unused synth themes that he doesn't have a movie for, so he decided to throw it on a record. He made this with his kids, or with his son, I guess, and it's pretty interesting to listen to. If you're a really big John Carpenter fan like I am, and you're listening to this album, you can definitely hear like little hints of, specifically on a couple songs on here, I heard little hints of Escape from New York, a little bit of Assault on Precinct 13. He didn't do like, obviously, like, here's a little taste of Halloween or something like that. Next one was a surprise release for this year, and that is John Carpenter's Lost Themes 2. Now, this particular one is really cool. I like the whole sleeve to this and everything. It is a double sleeve, so you got this, and then you can pull out the record here. You got John Carpenter's face, Lost Themes 2. And then it's a colored vinyl, so it's a purple and white swirled vinyl, I guess. The color is really kind of hard to see. Um, Again, with this one, you can hear little hints of movies that he has done, like Assault on Precinct 13 and stuff like that. And so, like I said, this was a surprise release for this year. And I just read recently that the surprises for this year from John Carpenter are over. I know later in the summer he's going to start doing a touring these two albums, and he and his band that worked on these albums with him have re-recorded Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13, Escape from New York, and The Fog as like a band arrangement and not like just all synth music. And they're re-releasing them in June on two separate vinyls. So one's going to have Halloween and Assault on Precinct 13, and the other one's going to have The Fog and Escape from New York. And I'm pretty excited about that. I had my local record shop go ahead and put in an order for it, so hopefully I can get it. Next up is more John Carpenter, but this one is from Mondo, and that is Halloween, the original motion picture soundtrack from the first film. I absolutely love the gatefold sleeve on this. So you got Michael's face as the front. If you look closely here, the house, the scene where Tommy looks out the window and says he saw the boogeyman, where it's just Michael standing over there, that's his mouth. And then the inside is when he carried Annie back into the house. And then the back is that scene where Michael's just standing outside Laurie's window with all the tracks and John Carpenter's Halloween. Now, I know on this one you could get a limited edition orange pressing of the vinyl, and luckily I didn't get lucky on that, but I did purchase this on Amazon. This was one of my first few that I actually when I started to seriously collect vinyl. This was the first one I bought. And also you have little pumpkins on the records themselves. It's pretty cool. One of my favorite vinyls to listen to. I spent it a lot during the month of October for obvious reasons. Next up, again, I'm a huge John Carpenter fan, love his music as well as his movies. So the next one is Assault on Precinct 13. This is from Death Waltz. And so here you have the cover, and it's a gatefold. Here's what I like. The color of the vinyl is a little bit of a reference to the movie. The color I have is regular vanilla color. You can get a vanilla swirl, which is again a reference to the movie. So that's the regular vanilla color. Inside you have some production pictures. In the back you have all the information about the soundtrack itself. I do believe inside you also have, yep, I'm correct, a little booklet of more production pictures and John Carpenter himself talking about the vinyl release of his music for Assault on Precinct 13. Next up, again, another John Carpenter. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This is from Death Waltz, and it is the music by John Carpenter, and I can't remember who else did this music with him. But, so down here you have Silver Shamrock. Up here is the Halloween, the TV screen when everyone started going crazy. And it's a single LP, and it comes with, stuff is hard to get out sometimes. It comes with a little booklet like Assault on Precinct 13 did. And it also came with a poster, I believe, and orange vinyl. So this was pretty awesome. This is personally one of my favorite soundtracks that he's done for the Halloween movies. I like 2. I love Halloween 1, greatest soundtrack ever. I do like Halloween 2, but essentially it's just Halloween 1 with a little bit of differences here and there. But Halloween 3, something about this movie, which I love. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love it. And Halloween, and the soundtrack for it is just amazing. Next up is, oh, not John Carpenter. This one is the Clerks soundtrack. Um, SRC Vinyl released this with Kevin Smith's approval a couple years ago, and when I saw that they were making it, I just had to have it. Now, there is two different variants that you can get. The first one is just one black LP and one white LP to, represent the black and white of the movie. The second one, it is a double LP, I believe. It is a gatefold, and it has more song information. The second LP, or the second variant that I got, which is the clear vinyl with black smoke, again to represent the black and white usage in the film. I just love it. Now, it also has, so it starts out with Dante saying, "I'm not even supposed to be here today." So throughout the music, you will hear little bits of dialogue from the movie, and it actually ends the whole thing with Jay's chant at the end. Next up is Maniac by Rob. This is for the Maniac 2012 movie with Elijah Wood in it. I love this movie, and what made this movie so much more incredible was the soundtrack itself. Again, this is from Death Waltz, and they put out amazing horror film scores. It's a gatefold, so on the inside, you have the track listing and the director, or not the director, the people talking about the LP itself. And again, it's semi-colored. It's just a clear vinyl. I do think you can get one that has like blood splatter on it. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a few years since I actually looked into buying this vinyl. Next up is one of my favorite all-time 80s cheesy movies, and that is Chopping Mall. Waxwork Records. I found them on Instagram, and I followed them for a while, and I didn't really buy anything from them. And then they announced that they were making this, and I just had to have it because the soundtrack for this movie is so crazy and cheesy. So is the movie itself. This one also has a couple of little bits of dialogue in the movie from the movie, and these also came on. One variant was like a neon green color, and the variant I got was like a hot pink see-through color. I love it. I chose this one. I didn't go for the neon green just because I liked the look of this one more. I felt like it fit the 80s theme a little bit more. Next up is another one from Death Waltz, and that is The House of the Devil. This is the soundtrack for the movie made by Ty West. And again, it's Death Waltz. Nothing too special. It did come with a poster and the vinyl is blood red, but nothing like gatefold or anything like that is too special. And of course, the back has the Death Waltz logo and people talking about the LP and the music. Next up, another one, or this one I got at Hot Topic, and that is the Ghostbusters soundtrack. Don't know too much information about this. Like I said, I just found it at Hot Topic one day and bought it. The one thing I think is really cool about this one is it's on a clear see-through Slimer LP, so it's supposed to look like the Slimer ghost. It's a fun soundtrack to listen to. Of course, it has the Ghostbusters theme. I do believe there might be a little bit of dialogue in it. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a long time since I listened to it. Next up is one I found in a local record shop in the city, and it is the Reservoir Dogs soundtrack. Nothing too special. It's on a regular black vinyl. I do know when these first came out, you could get one for each character color, but unfortunately, I only got your regular black LP. This actually, if you remember in the movie, they have the comedian Stephen Wright doing a radio show on, and they even mentioned the name of the radio station that they're listening to. So this is basically that with music lined throughout of it. No dialogue other than Stephen Wright saying, "Here's our next song," or something like that. Next up, I got this one from a local record shop, which I recently found, and it was only maybe 5-10 minutes down from my house. It's the Jackie Brown vinyl. if you know me, you know I love Quentin Tarantino and I love anything he does. And one of the main reasons I really love his films is he takes time to not only he's like John Carpenter. He doesn't take time. He just doesn't make the film. He takes time to make music for the film and everything like that. This is from Rhino Records, and one of the cool things about this record is it's on a yellow record. This is probably one of my favorite colored records that I own. And on the back it has all the music. I'm not sure if there is dialogue. I think there might be a couple little bits of dialogue, but I'm not entirely sure. Next up, and this one's a big one, and I ordered this one from Third Man Records, which is Jack White's record label. And this was a huge record to get. I ordered it immediately after I saw the movie, and I saw the movie twice in theaters within the same week, and that's Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. And this record is huge. So here's the front. Let me take off this little plastic cover. Here's the back, and it's not your average gatefold, it's a trifold. So it opens once, and then, you got a little bit of the cast, and music. Then it opens again, and then you have the entire cast picture. Now, I believe it might be reversible. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't tried it yet. But nothing too special about the vinyl color itself. And then it also came with a little booklet. And a couple, came with a poster, which I really want to frame and put in my room. And then another cast poster, which is essentially what the trifold is. So that's what it came with. In that little booklet, if you saw the film in the 70mm version, that's what the booklet is. It's just that little booklet that they gave you in the 70mm version. Next up is one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite soundtracks, and that's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's Gone Girl. The music on this movie is relaxing and creepy at the same time, and I just absolutely love it. It is a gatefold. I found this at Barnes & Noble. So there's the front. The back is the search party with the tracks. And then that scene of Rosamund Pike falling into the water. And then little pictures of the setting of where the movie takes place are on each individual disc, or record I should say. Next up is, now if you watch my 2016 so far video, you know I wasn't a fan of this movie, but I may have mentioned it, I'm not sure, but I am a fan of the soundtrack, so I just had to get it, and that's The Revenant. I did not like the movie. I do need to watch it again, but I really didn't like the movie. But the soundtrack was just beautiful. And I've also found this at Barnes & Noble. So it's a gatefold as well. And on the inside is the picture of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at the pile of skulls. And the cool thing about this soundtrack is it comes on a ice and snow colored vinyl. So one's ice colored and one's snow. So you got a couple pictures from the movie. You have a note from the director. And then here's I believe this is the ice colored vinyl. And then the other one, or it might be the snow. The other one is, again, picture, music. This is the ice colored vinyl. And then next up is the Apocalypse Now soundtrack. This is one of the type of soundtracks that have dialogue laced throughout the music. Nothing really special about this. It is a double LP and gatefold, I do believe. Next up, I saw it and I just had to get it because I love the movies. I'll show them at the same time. It's the Rocky and Rocky 2 soundtracks. Nothing too special, just your simple Rocky and Rocky 2 soundtrack. Next up, and this is the last of the soundtrack slash start of the rock slash metal music, and that is Primus and the Chocolate Factory. This is, if you know the band Primus, you know they're a prog metal type band. So this is literally Primus doing the soundtrack for Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it's crazy good. Now, my favorite thing about this vinyl itself is it came with a chocolate brown vinyl. So I love that. There's so much like little bits of detail that when they do these colored vinyls about, especially for like soundtracks and stuff, that if you're a fan, it really makes you happy. Next up, and here's the start of the metal soundtracks, and that is Slipknot's first album, Slipknot. I found this. This was the first record I bought, and I found this at Hot Topic when they did this thing for a while where they had a record and a T-shirt together. So that's why the thing is so puffed out. The T-shirt used to be in there. It doesn't fit me anymore. The record itself is a see-through green color, and it's Slipknot's first album. This album is just truly amazing, and I love that I own it. Next up is Slipknot's latest album, which is Point Five: The Gray Chapter. It is a gatefold. I'm not going to take it out because just inside it's just track listing, and on the back is the track listing too. And there's nothing really special about like vinyl color or anything. Love this album as much as I love their first. Next one is a band I discovered recently, I would say about a year ago, and then I just started listening to them and fell in love with them. And that is Death Heaven's Sunbather album. They are a black metal shoegaze band, so they're kind of like punk metal mixed with black metal. And one thing, this album's really cool. It's not a gatefold, but it does come in a baby pink and what they call piss yellow. Hold on, let me see if I can get it out. Sometimes it sticks in there. Piss yellow clear see-through vinyl. I absolutely love that album. It's one of the ones I listen to on repeat constantly. I will say my favorite track on it is the Pecan Tree. Just amazing album, amazing music. Next is Death Heaven's third LP, and that is New Bermuda. This album is just amazing. I heard it for the first time last year. I didn't realize they released a new one, and then I heard this one close to the end of the year, like December, and I just fell in love. It's just such a beautiful album. It is a gatefold, and on the inside is the track listing. Hold on, this one's hard to get out. On the inside, you have the track listing, and then the LP itself is like a see-through-ish kind of splattered purple record. I do know there's like maybe 6 or 8 different variants for it. I know one of them's like a Coke clear, like a Coke bottle, like classic Coke bottle green color. There's a tealish color. Just beautiful album, and I love how much detail they put into these colored records. Next up is a band I don't listen to often, but I still enjoy them, and this is Tool. I forget which album this is for the life of me. I do, but I think it's Lazarus, maybe. It's the one that has Schism on it. I do know that. And the one thing I like about these, and I'm not going to get them all out, but the records are sort of a picture disc. So there's one side, and then there's the other side, and they all look like that on the records. Such an awesome album, and I love the picture disc aspect that they use for it. Next up is a horror punk artist, Next up is a band. They are considered to be alien core. That is Rings of Saturn. This is one of my favorite records to spin. Just it literally sounds like you gave an alien a guitar and they just started playing like crazy. So here's the back. It kind of looks like almost like Thanos from the Marvel movies. Track listing. Here's why everyone, when I post this on Instagram, this is why everyone loves this soundtrack or this album. Well, here's the inside, which is the full um, album artwork. So awesome. But here's why when I post it on Instagram, everyone seems to love it. They call it the Lisa Frank, and if you don't know who that is, just look up Lisa Frank, of vinyl. And it literally looks like maybe some clown ate some tie-dye makeup or something and threw up on this vinyl. It's so cool. I love it. And if you are a Suicide Silence fan, they did the last song on this album is a cover of No Pity for a Coward that they did in honor of Mitch Lucker. And the reason they did it was because there's an interview, and you can find it on YouTube, where Mitch actually talks about how he doesn't listen to metal except Rings of Saturn because he doesn't want to be inspired by any other people because he is a metal musician. But he specifically named Rings of Saturn and how much he liked them. So in honor, and Mitch passed away in 2012. So and this album came out 2013, 2014. So to honor him and for them being a fan of him and him being a fan of them, they did a cover of a song for them. One thing I do like about Rings of Saturn's last two albums, this is their third one. Their other one is Dinger, which is their second one. And Dinger, they started doing like an instrumental track on it, and they continued that with The Heavens Have Fallen on this one. And honestly, I do love all their music, but their instrumental tracks are just crazy good. Next up is a horror punk artist that I absolutely love to listen to. Joey Jordison played in a band with him for a while, but he also has a solo act, and that's Wednesday 13. This is his album, The Dixie Dead. And this is literally like listening to a movie on a record. That's the way he presented it, and he actually does want to make a movie into it. But on the back, almost looks like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, and front almost looks like that too. It's a single LP, and it's on Graveyard Gray, like Tombstone vinyl. Next up is another one from Wednesday 13. And that's his latest one, and it is Monsters of the Universe Come Out and Plague by Wednesday 13. Now, I believe he crowdfunded this album entirely, which is really awesome. So the back is the soundtrack or the track listing. It's a gatefold, I do believe. Yes, it's a gatefold, and that's again track listings, lyrics, and I believe thank yous for everyone that contributed to the crowdfunding campaign. It's a double LP, so the first one's like an orange see-through vinyl, and then the second one's like a clear see-through vinyl with like a money logo on it. Next up is one of my favorite all-time bands. Now, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but some people might get offended by this, so warning, these pictures might be graphic to some. First up is, and again, one of my favorite bands, and that is Cannibal Corpse. This is their first record. This is Eaten Back to Life. I do believe this is one of the newer pressings that Metal Blade just put out. I know they reissued pretty much their entire catalog earlier this year, so they're pretty sort of rare, hard to find right now because they went quickly. So this is their first one, Eaten Back to Life. So there's the front. There's the back. Nothing special about like the vinyl color itself, but each of the reissues come with a poster of the artwork. So it's a bigger version of that. And then if you flip the poster over, it's letters of their logo. So if you collect all their records of the reissues, you can either have every Cannibal Corpse album artwork hanging on your wall, or you can flip it over and have the Cannibal Corpse logo hanging on your wall. Next up, again, I'm going to warn you, these pictures are graphic, is Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse. This is honestly one of my favorite Corpse albums. Just crazy good. Has my favorite song by them, which is Hammer Smash Face. One of the reissues, so it does come with a poster, but nothing special about vinyl color. Next up, this was a record store day exclusive. I'm not sure if it was this year's record. I think it was like last year's record store day, but that is Cannibal Corpse's Vile, and it's a picture disc. So these other two are just regular black LPs, and then these are the picture discs. Now I do know for a fact these are kind of rare and hard to find. And on the back it has the censored cover because Cannibal Corpse often had their albums censored so they could sell them in stores, like the covers, but you could flip it over, like the booklet over, and you'd have the uncensored cover. So that's essentially what they're going for. So censored, uncensored, and you got the track listing Vile, Cannibal Corpse. Next up, this is Cannibal Corpse's one of their albums this is the album that really did get me into Cannibal Corpse, and that is Evisceration Plague. Not necessarily my favorite Cannibal Corpse album cover. So again, it's a picture disc and it's got like zombie-like people. On the back, it has a zombie like tearing himself apart with track listing and Evisceration Plague. Next up is Cannibal Corpse's latest album, and probably one of their weakest album covers. I feel like lately they've gotten just weak on their album covers, and I wish they would get back to. This is okay. So Evisceration Plague is when they started to get weak. I wish they would get back to Tomb of the Mutilated and Eaten Back to Life on their covers, because those are crazy good. But this is a Skeletal Domain. It's a picture disc, and that is the cover. And then on the back, you have a picture of Cannibal Corpse themselves with the track listing. Next up is another death metal band that I enjoy, Obituary. This is their latest one, Inked in Blood, and this comes in a gatefold, embossed cover, and the record itself is a bone white record, so that's pretty cool. I do know there's like a bone white with blood splatter and a camo colored one. So that, I believe, no, I still have more metal. So the next one I have is Metallica's Injustice for All. And this is one of their reissues that they did a couple years ago from their own record label, Blackened. Nothing too special about like record color or anything. But again, it's Metallica Injustice for All. Love it. I do know they just did reissues for Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em All. And I've been wanting to pick those up. Next up is Foo Fighters. This is not their latest. I do know they just released one earlier this year, but this is Sonic Highways. They did a whole HBO documentary about this. Nothing special about this. It's on a single LP. I do know that the covers, there's variant covers. There's one for each. They recorded in 8 different cities, I believe. So there's one for each city. This is the All Cities cover. So you got like the Seattle Needle. Let's see what else. I think this is might be the Superdome down in New Orleans. Of course, Washington Monument and Lincoln Memorial, because they went to DC, they went to Hollywood. I don't exactly remember all the places I do know they went to Texas, Nashville. This is a really interesting album. One thing I liked about this was each city that they went to, they had someone big from that city, like a big musician from that city, come guest on their track. So the first one, Something from Nothing, they recorded. So they visited the city, learned about the city's music history, and then recorded a song in the city. So the first one, Something from Nothing, is in Chicago. So they recorded with the bassist or guitarist of Cheap Trick. And I do know that the What Did I Do / God Is My Witness, which is the 4th track, was recorded in Texas. So they did it with Gary Clark Jr. Outside was recorded in LA. So they actually had Joe Walsh from the Eagles on it. Pretty awesome. Next up, I bought this one last year. It's been a while since I listened to him, but this album was really good. A lot of people say it's not his best, but honestly, I love it. That's Marilyn Manson's, oh man, I forget what this, Pale Emperor or something like that. Nothing special like color-wise, but I do love this album, and it's just really good. And it also has the bonus like acoustic tracks, which I thought was interesting. All right, so that is all the metal slash rock. Next up, I'm going to start with hip hop, and I'm going to start with some local people that I absolutely love, and that is Outkast's Stankonia. This is, if you don't know which album this one has Miss Jackson on it, So Fresh and So Clean. Um, Bombs Over Baghdad. Just crazy. I love this album, and this was a Record Store Day exclusive, I think last year. And what's really cool about this one is it's an orange splattered vinyl now. I love the color of that vinyl. It's probably one of my favorite colored vinyls, next to the Jackie Brown one and Death Heavens. And I have a lot of favorites. Next up is a rap duo. Now, one of the people from this duo has worked with Outkast a lot. So if you're an Outkast fan, you might know who I'm talking about. And that is Run the Jewels. And it's a rap duo featuring Killer Mike and LP. LP is the producer and Killer Mike's the rapper, but they both rap on it. This is Run the Jewels 2. And this vinyl, man, this vinyl was loaded. So it's a gatefold vinyl. So here's the front. The back has the track listing, and it has like Travis Barker's on the track playing some drums, Gangster Boo's on it. Just the music for this, Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine, he's on it. It's crazy good. And so here's the back, like I said. This vinyl is loaded. So here's the gatefold with who produced the songs and their thank yous and whatnot. Now here's what's cool, man. This is a special colored teal vinyl. So the first one has a little bit of white accent into it. Yeah, that's side 1. Side 2. And then the second one is just like straight teal. But I mean, I love this. So this thing came loaded. It came with a poster. It came with some stickers. And then LP got the idea to make a cat remix. So there's a Run the Jewels 2 cat remix, which is literally the music from this with cat meows throughout it. And instead of like this zombie looking hand, you have a zombie looking cat paw, and they put real faux fur. And all the proceeds went to like animal shelters. I've been wanting to buy that because I had 3 cats of my own, and I thought that was the coolest idea. And the funny thing about that album is it opens up with them explaining the idea to Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg's just like completely amazed by it. Next up is a classic, and I bought this, or my brother got this for me for Christmas because I got really into him, and this was before the movie even came out, so don't say I'm a bandwagoner, but that is NWA Straight Outta Compton. This is the 20th anniversary edition. This one is probably one of the best ones you can get because not only does it have all the original mixes, but it also has the bonus tracks of like the remixes by Bone Thugs and Harmony and Snoop Dogg, and a live version of Compton in the House with Dre and Ren. Love this album. Nothing, it is a gatefold, but no like special color or anything like that. Next up, I got this one at Fry's a few weeks ago. That's Dr. Dre's The Chronic. I'm trying to get The Chronic, 2001 and Compton, the soundtrack, so I can complete my Dr. Dre collection. Nothing too special. It's typical black vinyl, but you know, it's The Chronic. Awesome album. Next up, one of my favorite hip hop artists of all time. This guy's changing the game. And that's Kendrick Lamar. This is Good Kid, Mad City. Essentially, this is a movie. Again, this is like Wednesday 13. This is a movie, music type thing, and the way Kendrick presents it, it sounds like a movie. Now, the interesting I found out after listening to it all is you're technically, in a way, listening to the movie in reverse. It is a gatefold vinyl. Nothing special about the color, but I do know this. So there's 2 different versions of the cover itself. The first one has Kendrick, like a picture of baby Kendrick, and I think his uncles, and that's just your regular standard CD or disc or LP or whatever. This one is the bonus tracked edition. So it has the Compton featuring Dr. Dre on it, has the track he did with Mary J. Blige, and just another bonus track. So this is technically the bonus track version of the CD. And next up is Kendrick's second LP, and that is To Pimp a Butterfly. This album was truly amazing, and when he just decided to release it after the leak, I was so glad. But oh my god, I love this album. Nothing too special about like color or anything, but just, if you haven't heard this album yet and you do like Kendrick, listen to this. Or if you like hip hop, listen to this. The one of my favorite tracks on it is Mortal Man, and essentially it's a love letter to Tupac in a way. And it's crazy because they take an interview from like 1990 something, like 91 or 92, of Tupac talking, and they have him interact with Kendrick by using the interview, and it's so like mesmerizing and surreal to hear. But it's almost like a spoken word poetry, hip hop, jazz album. It's crazy good. Next up is the Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique. This was the same year my brother got me the NWA record for Christmas. He got me this. This album is crazy, awesome. Single LP, but it is like a quad fold. I'm not going to unfold it all because it's really hard to do, but essentially unfolds and shows you a lot of Brooklyn. Next up is Daft Punk. This is, I think this one, yeah, Homework. This, love this album. Nothing too special about the color of the album or anything like that. Next up, now, when I was in high school, I listened to this guy a lot. And then I kind of just fell off and was like, yeah, he's doing the same thing every song. But then I decided to check out this new album, and I was blown away by it. I hate to admit it, the reason I decided to check out this album was because I liked the song that he did with Justin Bieber. So this I decided to check out, and that's Recess by Skrillex. And this album is crazy good, man. Nothing too special about like color-wise or anything like that. Just a really good album. So next up, I'm getting into the classic collection, and so that's essentially records that I collected from like family members and whatnot. This first one I did not collect from family members, but it is a classic album, and that is Miles Davis Kinda Blue. I won this from a vinyl company, and they sent it to me for free, and it's really cool see-through blue vinyl. Amazing. This album is just so fun to kick back and relax to and listen to. Next up, I found this at my local record shop. I just had the idea to look for this one day, and the guy told me this is what you want to get if you're going to start listening to him. That is the Essential Jimi Hendrix. So this is basically a compilation of Jimi Hendrix best hits. So you got Purple Haze on here. You got Are You Experienced, Voodoo Child. There's so much on here. There's an Essential Jimi Hendrix Part 2, I do believe. Next up, I got this after Glenn Frey of the Eagles died. I got Hotel California because it is my favorite song by them. This is the actual album, not just like a single. Next up is, all right, these ones I want to take care of really well, so I'm not going to like throw them around or anything. I inherited these from a family member that passed away. She had a bunch in her house, so the first pressing of Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. I'm not going to take it out of the plastic because, like I said, I really want to take care of these. And I don't listen to them often because of how old they are. I don't want to like scratch them or anything. Amazing. Just love this album. Wish You Were Here is my favorite song. Next up, another first pressing. This is the first pressing of The Wall by Pink Floyd. Again, not going to take it out. Nothing special or anything about it other than the fact that it's a first pressing, but like vinyl color-wise, no. And then the final first pressing of Pink Floyd, which is Dark Side of the Moon. Like I said, I don't listen to these often because of how old they are. Forgot one hip-hop record, that it's Eazy-E's Merry Motherfucking Christmas. I found this at a record store. What's funny is my brother showed me this song this year. We were driving somewhere for Christmas. My brother showed me the song, and then I went to a record store, and they had it. I was like, oh, I'll get it. And it's on a red, like see-through-ish vinyl. It's a 45 LP. And then the final of the classic albums. This one I don't listen to at all because it is warped, but I still like it. Um, it's Black Sabbath's Master of Reality, or as I like to call it, the start of stoner metal. Um, as you can tell, it's super old. The glue's falling apart. Here, I'll even show you. It's warped like crazy, so when it's spinning, it's like. Anyway, so that is all my record collection. Glad I got to show it off. It's huge and it's growing pretty much every day. Again, thank you to Beyond the Realms for the inspiration to make this video. And like I said, I'll put a link to his channel down below. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at Movie Addicted Nerd. And I will see you guys next time.